right? So in the last class, guys, we were discussing the different categories of IPs, what public and private IPs are. In today's class, we'll discuss the range of each of these categories and the relevance of these classes. Okay. So now it's important to remember these ranges, guys. These have been fixed by the people who invented IP addresses itself. Okay. And there will never be a change in this range. Class A starts at the first IP, 0000. Class E ends at the last IP, 255, 255, 255, 255. Okay. Now, in between, there are these ranges that you might have to memorize. So class A starts at 0 and goes up to 127, 255, 255, 255. And since it's ending at 127, class B starts at 128. So the remaining three octets are 255s. So obviously they cycle back to zeros. And the leftmost octet increases by 1. So this 127 changes to 128. And the 255s are reset back to zeros. Just like how we learned it in the last class when we were discussing the sequence of IPs. Okay. And from 128, class B goes up to 191, 255, 255, 255. Since it's ending at 191, class C starts at 192. From 192,000, it goes up to 223, 255, 255, 255. And since it's ending at 223, class D starts at 224. And from 224, it goes up to 239, 255, 255, 255. And since it's ending at 239, class E starts at 240. And from 240, it goes up to the last IP, 255, 255, 255, 255. So the only four numbers you have to remember are these numbers, guys. 127, 191, 223, and 239. These four odd numbers. From these number itself, you get the next starting range. 0 to 127, 128 to 191, 192 to 223, 224 to 239, and 240 to 255. Okay. And anyhow, on the left side, you have all three ending octets as zeros. And on the right side, on the ending range, you have all 255s over here. Okay. Now, this is the entire class range, guys. Again, in each class, you have some set of public IPs and some set of private IPs in it. So in the entire class A range between 0 and 127, there's a small private IP range from 10,000 all the way up to 10,255, 255, 255. That's the private IP range in class A. Any IP within this range is a private IP, and any IP outside that range is a public IP by default. Okay. So the private IPs are something which you can use in your local network, as discussed in the last session. And public IPs are the ones which are available with the ISPs, Internet Service Providers. Okay. In class B, between 128 and 191, there's a small range, 172.16.00 to 172.31.255.255. That is the private IP range in class B. Any IP within this range is a private IP. Any IP outside that range would be a public IP. Similarly, in class C as well, between 192 and 223, there's a small range, 192.168.00 to 192.168.255.255. That's the private IP range in class C. Any IP within that range is a private IP, and any IP outside that range is by default a public IP again. And in class D and class E, you don't have any private IPs at all. All of them are public IPs itself. Okay. Now, if I had to elaborate this using a certain example, let's take the example of the first class, class A. So it begins at the first IP 0000 and goes up to 127, 255, 255, 255. That's the entire class A range. Now, in that entire class A range, there's a small private IP range from 10,000 to 10,255, 255, 255. Any IP within this range is a private IP. And any IP outside this range, which means from 0 up to 10, which is 9,255, 255, 255, and after 10, which is 11 to 127, those are the two public IP ranges. So in every class in that manner, you have a small private IP set and two public IP sets. Is that clear, everyone? Any questions, any doubts? Ismail, Pooja, Lakshmi, Sujata, Sumit. Okay. Now, just as a small example, guys, I'll write down some IPs on a notepad file. And we'll just try to run some examples and understand how to classify these IPs. Okay. So let me just write down some random IPs first. Let me just type those IPs here. Okay. Okay. Let me write a couple IPs now. Let's say 10.20.30.40 or 3.40. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So I've written down a couple IPs here. Now let's try to understand which IP would fall in which category. Okay. So same logic, guys. You would check the same range that is mentioned over here. Okay. So let's go with the first IP. Let's say we have 10.20.3.40. Now, for us to understand which class it belongs to, you would check the first octet. Okay. So class A is from 0 to 127. So any IP with the first octet between 0 and 127 is class A. Here, the first octet is 10. So therefore, this is class A. Okay. What would the next one be? 192. Where is 192 falling under? That's between class C, 192 and 223. So this is class C. Okay. Next one, 172. Where is 172 falling under? It's between 128 and 191. So this is class B. Okay. Now this is how you would categorize which IP belongs to which class. Okay. Now whether it's public or private. So for class A, for an IP to be a private IP, first octet should be 10, and the remaining octets can be anything from 0 to 255s. For class B, first octet should be 172. Second octet should be between 16 and 31. And the remaining two octets can be anything from 0 to 255. For class C, first octet should be 192. Second octet should be 168. And third and fourth octets can be anything between 0 and 255s. So here, the first IP we have is 10.20.3.40. Okay. First octet is 10, and all the other octets can be anything from 0 to 255s. So therefore, this is a private IP. It's falling in this range. Therefore, it's a private IP. If it were falling outside that range, it's a public IP. Okay. Looking at the second number, 192, 162, 0.100. First octet is 192. That seems to match. But second octet is 162. This is not matching with 168. So therefore, since it's falling outside that range, it's a public IP. Okay. Similarly, next one. The next IP is 172.25.0.10. Okay. First octet is 172. That seems to match. Okay. Second octet is 25, which is between 16 and 31. That is also matching. The remaining two octets can be anything between 0 and 255. Okay. So since 25 is between 16 and 31 and the first octet is 172, this is a private IP. Okay. I hope this is clear for everyone, guys. Can you give me the answer for the next one? 10.180.9.126. Which class is this, guys? And is it a public IP or a private IP? Got some answers, I guess. Yeah. So I've got one answer as class B, 10.180.9.26.
Class A private.
Yes, this is a class A IP because the first octet is 10. It's class A. And since it's starting with 10, it's a private IP. Okay. Next one, 192, 168.0.10. 192 is class C. And since it has 192 and 168 in the first octet, it is private as well. So anything starting with 192, 168 is private. Okay. Then you have 200, 100, 200, 100. Whereas 200 falling between 192 and 223. So therefore, this is also class C. But it's not a private IP, it's a public IP. Okay. Next one, 142, 250, 193, 221. 142 falls between 128 and 191. So therefore, this is class B. And is it public or private? So first octet is 142. This is definitely not matching here. For it to be a private IP, it should start at 172. Since it's not matching, it's a public IP as well. Next octet 11.164. 11 is class A between 0 and 127. And since it's outside the private IP range, since it's not 10, it's a public IP. Class A, public. Okay. Last number 250, 100, 250, 100. 250 falls between 240 and 255. So therefore, this is class E. And since in class E you don't have any private IPs, it's a public IP by default. Okay, so that is how you categorize which IP falls in which category and whether it's public or private. Now, if you go to your browser and check for what is my public IP, you would see an IP outside this range. If you open up your command prompt, and in the command prompt, if you type ipconfig, you would see an IP within the private IP range, 192.168.04. That is falling in this range, class C. So I'm getting a class C private IP for my laptop, which I'm connected on right now. Okay. So that is how you would classify each IP according to these ranges. And as mentioned, guys, this is important to remember these ranges. As soon as you look at an IP, you have to figure out whether it's a public IP or a private IP. Because in the upcoming sessions, again, whenever we talk about cybersecurity, we go through a lot of logs. And in these log files, you sometimes notice IP addresses. Okay. So identifying where that IP is initiating from could give you a very big clue. If it's a private IP in that log, you can understand that this is a local network connection. So if you have an attack from that IP, it means the attacker is in your own local network. Okay. If it's a public IP, it means the attack came from external networks. The attacker is not in your network, he's from the internet. Okay. So understanding which IP is public and which IP is private and which category it falls under, which class it falls under is very, very important. Okay. Now, we have understood the relevance of public and private IPs, but let's talk about the relevance of classes today. Okay, what is class A? What is class B? What is class C? What is class D? And what is class E? And why do we have 5 separate classes? Again, what's the relevance of each of those? We'll talk about that. Okay. So firstly, each of these classes, guys, has a unique network and host portion. Okay. So class A has 1 network portion and 3 host portions. Class B has 2 network portions and 2 host portions. Class C has 3 network portions and 1 host portion. Class D and Class E have all network portions itself, no host portions in them. But what do I mean by this network and host portions? Okay. So as you're going down the line, network portions are increasing in number. Class A has 1 network portion. Class B has 2 network portions. Class C has 3 network portions. Class D and Class E have all network portions. But what are these network and host portions? To understand this, let's take the example of class C first, which has 3 network portions and 1 host portion. Okay. Now, we all know the first private IP in class C starts at 192.168.0.0. If you remember these ranges, class C first private IP starts at 192.168.0.0. And that's the same thing which I've written here in my notepad file as well. If you just check it out. Yeah, over here. So in class C, the first private IP starts at 192.168.0.0. Okay. Now, the first 3 portions are the network portions, and the last portion is the host portion. But what do I mean by that? So let's talk about the sequence again. So if the first IP is 00, next IP would be 01, next IP 02, next IP 03, next IP 04. It goes all the way up to 0255. After 0255, you have 10. Okay, then you have 11, 12, 13, which goes up to 1255. Then you have 20. Okay, we saw the sequence in the last class anyhow. Okay, but what about the network and host portions? So now, whenever there's a host portion, guys, it just identifies each host in that network. So the 01 could be my Wi-Fi router. 02 could be my mobile phone. 03 could be my laptop. 04 could be my smartwatch. So each of these unique host portions identifies a unique host in the network. And all of these belong to the same network, which is 192.168.0. So the network portions give identity for the network. So this is the identity for the entire group. And this is the identity for each host in that group or each host in that network. Okay. And so therefore, you can connect a maximum of 255 hosts here. After 255, the network portion changes from 0 to 1. And whenever there's a change in the network portion, the network divides over there, which means now from here, you have a completely different network. And these two networks can't communicate with each other. Only devices belonging to the same network, only people belonging to the same group will communicate with each other mostly, right? So over here, all these IPs from 1 to 255 will only communicate when they belong to the same network portion. If it is from 10 to 1255, that's a different network. 20 to 255, another network. 30 to 3255, another network. And in each network, you have a maximum of 255 devices here. Okay. So that's what class C represents with 3 network portions and 1 host portion. Host portion refers to the unique identification for the host. Network portion refers to the unique identification for the entire network. This is the 192.168.0 dot network. This is the 192.168.1 dot network. This is the 192.168.2 dot network. And in each network, we are able to connect 255 hosts. Okay, that's the specialty of class C. In each class C network, we can connect maximum only 255 devices, not more than that. So in our home network, in small organizations, maximum number of devices you can connect is 255 if you use class C. But if there is a requirement, let's say more than connecting more than 255, then you have to go for class B, which has 2 network portions and 2 host portions. Now, when you talk about class B here, class B private IP starts at 172.16.0.0. Okay. Next IP is 01, next IP is 02, next IP is 03. Goes on all the way up to 0255. Now, after 0255, you have 10. Again, remember the sequencing from the last class, guys. It's important here. Okay. Now, in class B, guys, you have 2 network portions and 2 host portions. So after 0255, network doesn't divide there. It still belongs to the host portion itself. So 10, both of these octets are still host portions. Okay. So 0255 can communicate with 10. That's not the case in class C. After 0255, network is dividing there because only the last portion is the host portion. But in class B, we have 2 host portions. So after 0255, you have 10, then 11, 12, 13, 14, which goes up to 1255, then 20, 21, 22, 23, which goes up to 2255, then 30, 31, 32, 33, which goes up to 3255. Like that, the cycle repeats again and again and again. And somewhere down the line, you would have 2550, 2551, 2552, which goes up to 255, 255. Once both these octets are filled, then 16 changes to 70. Same logic, as long as the network portions are same, it belongs to the same network. As long as the network portion is changing, network divides over there. And from here starts a new network. From 1700 to 17255.255, 1800 to 18.255.255, 1900 to 19.255.255. Okay. And in each network now, you can connect a maximum of, since there are 2 octets, it's 255 into 255 devices. That would be equivalent to 65,535. In class C, you could only connect 255 devices. But in class B, you can connect 255 into 255 devices, which is much larger. And finally, when you come to class A, with 1 network portion and 3 host portions, you can connect all the IPs from 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255 in one single network. This is where the private IP range for class A starts, and this is where it ends. So this entire group is one single network itself. And in this one singular network, you can logically connect 255 into 255 into 255 IPs, which is much larger. Practically speaking, this is not possible, guys, but logically at least, this is what the purpose of class is. Okay. So each class differs according to the number of IPs you can connect in it. So in a small network, you always go for class C. In larger networks, so in small networks like home networks, small organizations, small scale organizations, you go for class C. For larger networks, MNC companies and all, where you have a requirement for connecting more than 255 devices, there you go for class B and class A. Okay. That's the relevance of each class over here. Is that clear, everyone? Any questions, any doubts up to this point? Pooja, Ismail, Lakshmi, Sujata, Sumit. Pooja, any questions? Right. So yeah, that's the relevance of each of these classes, guys. Class D and Class C do not have any host portions in them, guys. They're unique public IPs. Okay. So if you remember, Class D and Class E do not have any host portions. Class D and Class E do not have any private IPs at all. All of these are public IPs itself, but they're special public IPs. So the public IPs in Class A, B, and C are for general public, for ISP purpose. To get our internet connection, we get Class A, B, and C public IPs. Class D and Class E public IPs are reserved for special organizations, such as research and development organizations, government portals, weather forecasting, military services, military organizations from various countries. All of those were for Class D and Class E. So those public IPs are reserved for those various other organizations. They're not given to the general public or the ISPs for internet access. Okay. For internet access, you only use public IPs from Class A, B, and C. Okay. Class D and Class E public IPs are for various other organizations. Okay. So that's the relevance of each class there. Okay. Class A, B, C, D, and E. Okay. So yeah, any questions, anyone? Because that concludes the session for today, the demo for today. Tomorrow will be the last demo, guys, which we will discuss about what subnet mask is. How do you assign a private IP manually and automatically using a DHCP server? And then we talk about DNS server and special IPs. That would be the conclusion for all our demos. Yeah, okay. And yeah, please do again, as mentioned, since these are demos, we are taking slightly shorter sessions, guys. And yeah, that's that. Nothing further, Pooja. We can exit the session here. Others, guys. Oh, 1 second, Pooja. Others, on the other hand, from DurgaSoft. Again, guys, the institute has been trying to contact you. Your numbers are not reachable or you're not lifting. I don't know what it is, but they have informed me that you are not coming in their reach for the contact. So please do make the payment in the earliest. Tomorrow is the last class for demos. And Ismail, the course duration is for 35 days, where we have classes from Monday to Friday for 1 hour each. Since these are just demos, we are taking it shorter. But once we get into the actual course, we have much more longer sessions. Okay. And again, the course details have been, again, for any payment related thing, you can make the payments over here. I've dropped a message for that in the chat box. Okay. The price is 8,000 rupees Indian currency, and you can make the payment on the account numbers that have been mentioned in the chat box. Okay. Please do connect back with the institute, guys. If you have not paid already, please make the payment at the earliest, as mentioned. So which level jobs? Again, after this course is done, you can start applying for job roles such as certified ethical hacker. You can apply for penetration tester. You can apply for SOC analyst. You can apply for security engineer. These are all the job roles you can apply for. And with this course, since this is the first step in cybersecurity, you can apply for job roles with 1 or 2 years experience, not more than that. For more experience than that, you would have to do other courses as well. Okay. And again, DurgaSoft is not providing any consultancy service, guys. So they will not be providing any jobs. But I, as an instructor, have trained multiple students. I have a few contacts with some other already placed students and with a few HRs as well. And as soon as I get a requirement, I do post it in the WhatsApp group. So for all the registered students, I'll be joining you in my WhatsApp group community. And every update that I get for jobs will be posted there regularly. Okay. So again, no consultancy sort of a service. Whatever contacts I have, I'll be sharing those contacts where you can start attending interviews. I'll share some other websites as well where you can apply yourself. But if I get any references, if I get any requirements on my own mind, I'll be sharing that to the students personally. Okay. So yeah, that's that. Nothing further for the session, guys. Please do contact back the institute as mentioned. Java with cybersecurity. Again, if you're going towards web application pen testing, it would be a good combination, Ismail, because again, if you're learning, uh, right, okay. So again, if you're going with any again mobile application development or web application as well, any programming language would be good enough with that. And there are no prerequisites required for this course. All of them are included in the course itself, Lakshmi. So you do not need to learn anything else. Everything which is required, networking fundamentals, Linux commands, everything is included in the course. Okay. But I think this is your first demo. No, I'm not sure if because tomorrow would be the last demo again, guys. All these demos are recorded and they're uploaded on YouTube. You can access them just by searching DurgaSoft cybersecurity. I've been taking demos from Monday. You can access those older demos as well to get more information on the course. And tomorrow would be the last demo. Please register at the earliest as mentioned. These are the 4 demos we have taken from Monday and no more demos since from Friday onwards. Please do get back in touch with the institute. They have been trying to contact you is what they have mentioned, but they were unable to reach you. So yeah, Please do make the payment, guys, if you have not already done so. Okay. And the link will change from Friday onwards. Yeah, 35 days, Monday to Friday, Ismail. Not from 10th of March, Lakshmi. It would be from the last Monday itself, because that was when the first class started, actually. So again, from the last 4 days, that would be from, I would say, I think, yeah, I took the demo on Friday as well. So you can assume 35 days from 3rd of March. Okay, so that would be going next month, okay, up to 5th of April or so, 5th or 6th, I would say.
Hi sir, good evening. This is Ismail. Madhavan.
Yeah, Ismail, I
Yeah, my doubt is after course completion, now we will apply for jobs after
uh
35 days, 40 days duration.
uh Yeah, you can start applying for jobs after the course is done, Ismail, as mentioned, for the job roles such as certified ethical hacker, penetration tester, SOC analyst. Those are the job roles you can start applying for. I'll also again, if you need
Like
help regarding resume building,
experience 2 years or what, sir?
one or two, not more than that again, because as mentioned, this is the first course that you take up in cybersecurity. So
Okay,
with this course, you would only be working in that job role for 1 or 2 years. After that, you will definitely upgrade your skills and move to higher job roles. So for this course, I would not recommend applying for more than 2 years.
okay,
Okay. But again, if you need much more higher experience, there are other courses that I train personally on. You can, again, I
okay,
can refer those to you later on.
okay, okay.
Sure. Any other questions, guys? No. Okay. Assuming no questions, please do join the session tomorrow as well, guys, at the same time. We'll connect back and take up the last demo on networking. Okay. That is one of the prerequisites that was included as a demo for cybersecurity. Okay. So that's that. We can exit the session here. Bye bye. Good day.